What's going on YouTube? Next week is a very special day because it is my birthday, and I thought it'd be a great time to execute an idea that my girlfriend thought of, but also something that I have always wanted to do, which is to turn my apartment into a record cafe. Now, this apartment cafe trend has been popping up all over YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And so I figured I'd hop on the trend, but I wanted to add my own spin on it. But one thing that every apartment cafe had in common was they had an espresso machine, which I don't unfortunately have. So I bought one. So today I'm just gonna unbox it in front of you guys, explain a little bit about the machine itself and how I plan to use it. I have about a week to learn how to use it, so it's gonna be quite a steep learning curve. Here we go. All right, so this is the Sage Barista Express. In North America, I believe it's called Breville. I'm not sure why it's called Sage here in Europe, but it comes with a typical portafilter, steamer, as well as a built-in grinder. And this version actually came with a steaming pitcher that has a thermometer on it so you can see the temperature of the milk that you're steaming. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Comes with a nice little manual here. Ooh, we've got a nice sturdy portafilter. Comes with a handy cleaning kit, tamper, and something called the razor, not sure what that is exactly. A few filter baskets depending on the size of shots you want. Okay, that's the top of the grinder. Got the steam pitcher with the thermometer at the bottom. All right, I'm nearly done. I just need to find a home for this bad boy on my coffee setup right here. So first thing I want to do is get rid of this espresso machine because it's an espresso machine and I just got it out of convenience. Probably shift a few of these devices around. I definitely want to keep the Mocha Master there, the grinder and the kettle. So yeah, let's try to find some space. So I've got the Encore Barista grinder, an entry-level grinder. If that one doesn't end up working well, I have this one as a backup, which I've been using for filter, but I think it makes sense in between the kettle and the espresso machine, depending on the coffee I'm brewing. But let's see if I still have room for this pour over setup. Let's try that for now. Needs a bit of a tidy. Okay, so either I'm incompetent or they really made it hard to take out the water filter pieces. There we go. Okay, I'll figure out how to use that a bit later. Let's just focus on the placement. Boom, perfect. There we go. All right, happy with that. In addition to getting the machine and the thermometer steam pitcher, I also got 2 free bags of house blend beans from 5 Elephant in Berlin, one of my favorite coffee roasters. So that definitely added a lot of value. This was roasted really freshly just about 6 days ago. So I'm really psyched to use this in about a week. Perfect time to give these bad boys a try. So shout out to 5 Elephant and Sage for hooking me up with some free beans. All right, we are just under 24 hours until the big day. And in my opinion, the most important thing to have is, of course, the coffee and the matcha. So I just want to show you the haul that I've gotten throughout the week. Starting with Ceremony Matcha. This is a favorite of ours, which we picked up at Weird Space, which is just around the corner from us. Great ceremonial grade matcha. Then I was looking for something that's a bit darker. It's a bit more for the average taste. And that is from Fia. This is a blend, 80% Yemen Arabica and 20% Indian Robusta. A little bit darker, but as it cools down, you get a bit more of that acidity out of it, which is quite nice. And I wanted to have a decaf variety, so I got this Colombian variety from Kofi and Kosplatz. And for anyone who is looking for something a bit more experimental, something that's a bit more left field, Got this Columbia pink bourbon, also from Kofi. This was a recommendation from a coffee lover friend of mine, so I've had this before and it's fantastic. Then for the espresso, which by the way, haven't figured out how to make a nice espresso yet, but working on it. This is the house espresso blend from 5 Elephant, which came for free with the machine. And finally, for the cold brew, I was looking for something a bit tropical, summery, and DAC just released their Saint-Tropez beans, and it's got notes of lemon sorbet, peach iced tea, and white flowers, which I thought would be perfect for the cold brew. And since it needs about 12 to 24 hours to brew properly, let's go ahead and brew it. So I recently picked up the Misodashi coffee pot from Hario on Amazon. I think it's about 25 or 30 euros. Quite sturdy glass and a great budget alternative, I would say, for cold brew. The typical recommendation is a 1:10 ratio bean to water, but the friend of mine recommended to go a bit higher if you want more of a concentrate. And so I'll go 1:8 this time. So about 125 grams of coarsely ground coffee beans, followed by 1 liter of water. And he recommended to add a little bit of a bloom, similar to how you would make a pour over, just to get a bit more flavor out of it, and then use the rest with cold water. So let's give that a try. All right, time to pop that bad boy in the fridge. Next up is tidying the hallway, which is the first impression that all my guests will see when they arrive. And so the plan is to essentially cover this wood piece with some brown paper, which is where we will lay the snacks on. I need to clean the mirrors, get rid of the junk over here, and yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so when it comes to this area, we want this to be the mingling area, of course. This is the living room. This is where the space comes to life. We actually moved our dining table to the bedroom just to create more space. And so the idea is to use these stools as tables or potentially more seats if the space fills up, and to have a place where people can face each other and kind of mingle a bit more easily. And we also have a little bit of a Polaroid section. Got a few more sheets for the event, and not sure what you guys think about this. I personally like these record coasters that we got from Amazon. My girlfriend's not a huge fan, but I thought it'd be nice. It's a record cafe theme, so let's see if people like them. And then on each table, we've got the menu printed out. This is our menu, as well as a few coffee table magazines just scattered around in case people are bored and need something to do. Ideally, we want them to mingle, but of course, we want to give them the freedom to explore a little bit. So yeah, let's start to move stuff around. Now this is how the party is gonna come to life. I've got my record set up. I've got a playlist, which is still to be finalized, but this is kind of how I'm gonna approach it. Let me know what you think in the comments. So for the first hour, start a bit light with a little bit of jazz. I've got some Gets Gilberto, a little bit of bossa nova to lighten the mood. And then following the jazz hour, get into a bit of soul, kind of a little bit more romantic, kind of comfortable vibe, a little bit more upbeat as well. So I've got here Sade, of course. Diamond Life. Gonna pick up the tempo with a little bit of Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, one of my favorite albums of all time. Now once the apartment starts to get more full, we're gonna turn up the tempo a little bit, head into the funk area, got some Earth, Wind and Fire, and then I'm gonna switch it up with a little bit of international or world music. So I've got Fela Kuti Zombie, groovy beats, politically charged, but a great vibe. This is Troupeau Bleu by Cortex. They're a French jazz funk band. Again, groovy beats. Next up, I've got Timely by Anri, a Japanese city pop classic. Amazing songs there. And then I'll get into a bit of hip hop. So I'm gonna start with some Lauryn Hill, loved by pretty much everyone. And so can't go wrong with that. And then depending on the vibe, probably add a little bit more hip hop to it. So let me know what you think about this 6-hour playlist. I'll be rotating the records depending on how much time I have. I'll obviously be mingling as well as preparing coffee, but for the most part, I'll be DJ for the day. And yeah, I'm excited to kick this off. Now to add some character to the space, my girlfriend created some lovely posters on Canva that we have displayed in each room, kind of highlighting the focus of each room. This is the living room, and so this is where the beats will be played. And then in the hallway, we're gonna be serving all of the pastries and snacks once the guests enter the flat. And of course, in the kitchen, we've got the coffee and matcha setup, which is still in the works, so I'm not gonna show that yet. And finally, we're gonna put up this poster on the front door on the day of the event. Not yet, but this is kind of the theme, the Record Cafe. Not sure if I mentioned it already, but I'll be co-celebrating with my friend Miles, whose birthday is the following day. He's got something planned in the evening, I've got something planned in the day, and so we're gonna celebrate all together.